Okay, I'm recording now.
I'm recording too.
Yes.
Da,
Da
da,
da 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 da. Wow, that was a special one today. Welcome, guys. Welcome to Wingin
Welcome.
It, the West Wing Podcast. I am one of your hosts. My name's Andrea, and this is my friend Sallie.
Hello.
Sally's a little sleepy today.
I am a little sleepy today. I'm really sorry. I'm going to try and be super upbeat, actually. But I feel like my singing already was subpar. Which is saying a lot because the par for me on the singing is very, very low.
Oh, we're so glad that you guys have joined us today. We are going to be talking about episode... What number is this? 14?
15?
13? 14? We're talking about the episode Ellie, season 2. And shall we start with a TikTok?
Sure. Yeah. I mean,
Okay.
it's a good place to start.
Yes. So if you haven't recently rewatched previously on The West Wing, well, what's going on here? President Bartlett is in Tokyo for the first half of it, I would say.
Yes.
And what else is happening? Gosh, I'm so bad at doing TikToks. This is not my
the
gifting.
Surgeon General. The Surgeon General is giving an interview in the opening of the episode.
Yes.
And makes some comments. So we're dealing with the fallout from that.
Mm-hmm. And there's the movie thing. The controversial movie.
Yes. Controversial movie. And then also President Bartlett's middle daughter, Ellie, makes some comments about the Surgeon General's comments. And so we get to meet Ellie and sort of figure out their relationship. And there's also Toby. Toby has to meet with with Andy, his ex-wife.
Yay. Love it. About the Blue Ribbon Commission.
Yes.
That they talked about in the State of the Union. Mm-hmm.
Uh-huh. And those are really the main things, really. It's just a fallout from all of those things.
Yeah, pretty much. How did we feel about this episode, Sallie?
I like this episode. I have a few individual problems with it, but as a whole I liked it.
Okay.
I like it okay. It's not my fave, but I like it okay. I like the next one and some others better.
Pretty much everything after this episode, I think.
Yeah.
Is so
that's
good.
very true. That's really true. So this one has a hard time living up to it just because of what is coming, but it's still a good episode on its own.
It's like the middle child, which is so appropriate. It's like it's good, but it's just got a lot of expectations to live up to. What's coming before and what's coming after. So we should all have.
I agree.
We need to call in Stanley for this to work on our middle child complex for this episode.
Come on, Stanley.
Stanley.
Where to even start? We could start with. Let's start with Ellie with the whole introduction of Ellie.
Yes. Now,
what did you do? You have thoughts and feelings about
I do have thoughts
about her.
Didn't you say that that for a long time President Bartlett only had pictures of Zoe in his office? Have we ever had a mention of Eleanor until this episode? That's my question.
I really don't remember. I was
trying
to
feel
think
like
about
we
that.
Haven't.
Did we have a mention of them even in the shooting episode?
I don't know. You just do it. Go ahead and do a monologue, and I'll search right now.
A monologue. Well, I'll talk about how I feel about Ellie. I have no problem with that. I don't have super strong feelings about her, but I didn't love the storyline for some reason. And it's not. I mean, the actress was perfectly lovely. Like that, she was great. It was just there's something about they have this huge, not heart to heart, but a little bit of an argument about how, she's not the favorite and he loves Zoe and, Liz more and all this stuff. She's never been able to make him happy and she's very, open about that. And he is sort of just shocked that she feels that way. I guess, here's the thing, is that I have a hard time relating to it or understanding it. I'm very, very lucky to have a good relationship with both of my parents. So maybe it's just that I'm missing this, but it seems to me like in that moment, they have pretty open communication. I don't think that the Surgeon General thing is a big enough thing to cause this huge revelation in their relationship. It seems like their communication is just open in this instance. So my thing is like, how have they not had this conversation before? Because it really didn't seem like that big of a deal for her to say it now. Or like, why was it spurred now?
Well, I think it was just the fact that we had, I think, no previous knowledge that she existed at all. And so it was just kind of a good story to be like, oh, it's not just a happy relationship. It's like a strained father-daughter relationship, which was just interesting. So I think it just kind of had to happen dramatically, but also the fact that she just doesn't involve herself. She doesn't come home a lot, and she's not that far away. You know, he goes on a huge guilt trip with her. I mean, just really lets her have it about the fact that, you know, she didn't even need to be flown in. She's in Baltimore, and they never see her, and she doesn't typically involve herself. And then she not only involves herself, but goes straight to the press. So I think it was highlighting the fact that she's usually not involved at all, and then she chose to insert herself into the situation. And at first he thought it was to make him mad. I remember he said that, and she's like, well, no.
Yeah, it is strange that she would insert herself into that. I mean, she called Danny Kincannon specifically to give these comments. So if you haven't watched it in a while, the Surgeon General made comments that implied that marijuana should be legal. Shouldn't flat out say that, but she just said, you know, it doesn't have the harmful qualities. We don't really understand it in the medical community why it's illegal. And Ellie called Danny Kincannon and said, my father won't fire the Surgeon General. He would never do that. And basically showing support.
Plus we find out that she is her godmother.
Yes.
Not fairy godmother, just regular godmother.
No,
so no like wishes or pumpkins or anything. But she is a pretty laid back Surgeon General. Can we just talk about the little like Yahoo chat she was doing or whatever? Because she was like, just wearing a sweatshirt. That's fine. You can wear whatever you want on those chats. But she was just very kind of like off the cuff and, you know, joking about the Allman Brothers and like just had a little bit
Jersey
of a swagger.
Girl and Jersey Girl's boyfriend.
Yeah. Yes, exactly. She had just kind of this swagger thing going. I was like, who are you, lady? There's no way if you were doing any sort of public-facing event of any kind that you would just behave like that. I don't think.
I don't know. I mean, I don't really know like how laid back the Surgeon General is allowed to be. It's the same as it's the same as a lot on the West Wing. Like, would the chief of staff or would the deputy chief of staff be as jokey as Josh is? You know, like he might be a much more serious person. I don't know. I just mean in a public facing thing. Like, I don't mind if she's like that, you know, with Josh or behind closed doors. Like, she's a human. That's great. But I enjoy being a human myself and making jokes behind closed doors. But on a live chat, I don't know. It just felt kind of strange. Like, she just kind of wanted to get the support of what Bartlett says, the Cheech and Chong constituency. Which I thought was funny. Yeah,
I don't know.
That makes sense. I agree. But I really love her character. This is the first time we're meeting her as the Surgeon General, and I really love her. I think the actress is great. I think she's just like fun. She's different from she's a tough character, but she's different from like characters like Anne Stark or like I can't think of another, but she's not as like sassy, or I don't like the word sassy, but she's not as like snappy or
she's not as much as a spitfire.
Or but she's just a tough, but like not warm. Like, she's funny and she jokes and I don't know. I just enjoyed those characteristics in her.
Plus, she has a different relationship because she's the godmother to Ellie. And so she's talking in the Oval, and you don't realize it until the end when she's, like, resigning because Leo and Josh are basically forcing her to. that, she even calls the president Jed, and then he's asking her, like, really personal life advice. Like, why doesn't my daughter like me? And,
right.
And...
We get like a hint of it. Yeah, we don't know until the end that she's the godmother, but we get a hint throughout the episode that she is important to the family because they make a few references to taking heat from the First Lady for making this decision.
That's true. I didn't really pay attention to that. That's true.
So we get those little lines, and you're kind of like, well, why would the First Lady care? And then you realize.
So what did you feel about Ellie? I really like the actress.
I do too. I really like the actress. I don't know. I didn't really have feelings one way or the other, I guess. Did you? How did you feel about her?
Well, I like her. I like pretty much any episode that she's in. We should reach out to her, see if she wants to come on the podcast. See if she has thoughts about playing one of the first daughters.
I just didn't feel as like endeared to her as like Zoe, of course. Because we like Zoe a lot, but...
Actually, I kind of like her more than Zoe. I'll be honest.
Did you?
I do, yeah.
What do you like about her?
I just believe her. I feel like there's more pain there, and I'm a little bit more melancholic, and so I just feel for her. And Zoe, I just don't really care that much about Zoe. I like the Zoe storylines. But, like, as a character herself, like, I'm just kind of, I can take her or leave it. Maybe that's horrible to say. I don't dislike her. I guess
for me, that's maybe how I feel about Ellie. Like, I could take or leave the whole, like, my dad scares me or doesn't love me or whatever. But I guess I don't buy that in Bartlett. Like, I don't buy Bartlett as, like, an intimidating... Once we've seen him with Zoe, I just don't... This is probably terrible, and we'll get emails about this, but I just don't buy... I don't see her side of it. I see his side of it, like, why wasn't she there and being supportive? And, like, there's no... I can't imagine, like, living 45 minutes for my dad and mom, who are the president and first lady, and not, like, visiting. She doesn't even know what room to go out of in the Oval Office. And I just don't... I can't buy that Bartlett has done something that hurtful to warrant... how she has reacted.
Well, she feels like that she's not his favorite, and she can just tell. And so if she felt like that her whole life growing up, that she was just the black sheep of the family, that's going to affect how often you go home, especially when you do show up and they give you a huge guilt trip like that. I mean, I'm sure that happens to people in real life, and it's that self-fulfilling prophecy,
Yeah, I guess I just still don't buy it. I'm just like, it's so terrible to say, like, I feel like she's just been overreacting for her whole life, but I just really don't see them treating any of their daughters, because as soon as the Surgeon General says that, Bartlett gets really upset, and he's like, I won't listen to someone say that, like, I love one of my daughters more than the other, that, like, one is a favorite more than the other.
Right.
And I believe that. Like, I didn't buy it on his end. I don't see that either of them treating someone like the black sheep. So to me, I'm just like annoyed with her. I'm just like, suck it up. Like, be supportive. I don't know.
Well, I think we can go on to other things after that. But I think that, it's perception versus reality. He may not actually love her any less, but like just, when you're growing up, it's perception can shape things rather than the actual truth of the matter. So, whatever. It's like such a downer. But I'm Team Ellie. I'm going to go ahead and just go out there and say I'm Team Ellie. I like her.
Okay. I'm Team President Bartlett.
Okay.
I really don't dislike her, but that's why I didn't care for the storyline. I just didn't buy it.
Fair
so
enough.
Anyway, we'll move on.
Let's move on to the other important things, like the fact that who's in charge of changing the clocks? Let's talk about all the time zones, because actually I thought that was really funny. Or enjoyable.
Yeah.
Not like
I thought that was really funny. I agree. I liked the entire opening, actually. I thought it was funny because not funny, but they were running around. There was a lot going on. There's the Surgeon General's comments. There was Josh saying the thing about the memo, like, that they wanted to, everybody to do their jobs and blah, blah, blah. And Donna's like, somebody didn't get your memo. Yeah, so they get out at 9 o'clock.
They finished at 9 o'clock, and that's early. I'm like, all right.
Yeah, no thanks. Cool. And they're dealing with the Surgeon General. Sam's got a thing going on. Toby's in the blue ribbon meetings. Like, there's a bunch going on. They're sort of running around. It's still comedic. You know, it's no like starting a fire in the mural room, or the rose room, whatever room. But I just enjoyed the opening a lot. I thought it was a good miniature. Like I said last episode or a few episodes ago, that my favorites are when there's like stuff going on, but there's also comedy. And I thought this intro was a good little mini representation of that. But Josh at one point says 11 in the morning, 11 in the afternoon. What is 11 in the afternoon? That's not a thing that exists. I was very confused by that line. 11 in the afternoon. There's no 11 in the afternoon.
You're right,
How did
Sally.
that get in there?
I'm not even going to fight you on it. I kind of like when you're tired and we record because you just don't really give a care about anything.
But I just really, for someone who's like a master wordsmith and like dialogue and all of that, why would they let him say 11 in the afternoon? That's not a thing. Anyway, I loved Josh trying to figure out the timing, where he says something like, it's Thursday, it's going to be Thursday the whole time he's gone. Like, how is that not the main story?
Yeah, it's so interesting.
That's funny.
And then they find out that basically President Bartlett's going to land an hour before he left, and he went to Tokyo and came back, which is crazy. I love when they're all trying to figure it out, too. Like, all putting their collective heads, their brain trust together. And they've got clocks on the walls. So that brings me, again, to my point. Who's in charge of the clocks? Because somebody has to be. And that's an important job.
It is an important job. Maybe it's Ed and Larry.
Oh, Ed and Larry. And I love that they got on Josh's case at the beginning because he let them know, like, 5 minutes after it was done. And CJ's like, why didn't you call me? And then Toby said,
Josh's like, what would you have done?
Yeah, I mean, it's 5 minutes ago.
It just happened.
People. Hot off the presses.
In happy news, this is the first time we see Toby and his ball.
Yes! I was just going to say that, too. The pink ball.
Yes.
The stress
so Toby
ball.
has the ball that he throws at the window between he and Sam's office. Sam's in his offices to get Sam's attention, which is really funny. It's also random that he was wearing a Giants cap and didn't ever say anything about it. He just took it off and was like, okay. Like I thought something was going to come of it. You know, like CJ's Notre Dame storyline, like, oh, I'm wearing the Notre Dame hat. Something like that. It was just so random for him to just be sitting there wearing a Giants hat and then take it off.
Yeah, it was just weird to see him in this like bright blue and red baseball cap.
Yeah, it's very not Toby.
No.
I wonder if it was just supposed to be like childlike, like he's, bouncing the ball, throwing the ball around, but he's also got his little baseball cap on. It was over my head. If anybody knows, let us know.
But yeah, it was a happy thing. That it's going to be a recurring little activity between the two of them. And then Sam kind of handles the movie situation with the director or somebody involved with the movie. And I love when we get to see Sam like this, where he just puts somebody in their place. And he's like, you know what? The next time you call the president a coward, you're not going to have a problem with CJ Craig. You're going to have a problem with me. And then Toby walks by and he gives Sam the ball.
He throws
he's
Sam
like,
the
nice
ball.
Job. I'm like, what?
I loved that scene.
It was just another one of those, like, oh, it could have just ended there with Sam, and I would have been feeling so happy, and man, I love the show, and man, I love these characters. But then they just threw in, like, Toby actually saying words of affirmation, which never happens, and that was cool. Took me by surprise.
Yeah, it was a good little cherry on top of that moment.
Yeah.
I agree. I liked that. I wrote that down. I also like when we're finding out about the movie situation. So there's a movie... I can't remember the name of the fictional commission, but some family commission is congratulating the president on denouncing this movie title, The Prince of New York, which is also fictional. And it didn't ever really happen, but Charlie just picked Dial M for Murder instead of this movie, and they took that to mean he was denouncing it. Anyway, what I like about it, I like a lot about it, but when Sam calls Charlie, he's
speaking
Japanese to him.
Yes.
And that was a really cute moment. Charlie cute. Sitting on the plane. I couldn't repeat what he said at all. I have no idea what it was. It was like Moshi Moshi or something. I don't remember, but that was really cute. I wish I had a better word than cute, but it was, I don't know. I just like to think of Charlie like sitting on the plane being like, I'm going to Tokyo. I better learn a couple things.
Yeah, he's just kind of like being absorbed in the moment that he's in. It's kind of like he's appreciating these unique life experiences that he's having.
Right.
You know, when in Tokyo.
Which somebody did an article this week about like 12 reasons why Charlie Young is like the perfect young man or something like that. Yes. So if you guys haven't read that, you should check it out.
We'll tweet it. I saw that Dule Hill responded to it on Twitter.
Yes.
It was kind of funny.
Yeah, and we retweeted that on the podcast tweet. On the podcast Twitter, there's a tweet with it. I think it was on Bustle, and it was fun. I like that. But yeah.
Yeah,
so y'all should check that out.
I liked that there was a little scene again, just like in the last episode, with Charlie and Mrs. Landingham, where they're talking about Dial M for Murder. And, it was just kind of funny, because he was talking about why he passed on the movie, and why he said something like, oh yeah, figured Bartlett would especially enjoy the scene where Prince Mishkin character has a seizure while engaging in a neurotic fantasy in a Long Island church. Mrs. Landingham says, Charlie, please don't say the word erotic in the Oval Office. And Charlie's like, I'd be perfectly happy never to say any of those words again.
I think we should get a Charlie and Miss Landingham scene every episode.
It would be fun.
Or just a whole episode of the two of them.
Yeah, but I would approve of that. It wasn't a very quippy episode, so there's not like a ton to put together.
No.
I mean, it was still upbeat, but there wasn't a lot of like notable quotables. But I did like, I did like this moment with Margaret where she's talking to the Surgeon General, Millie.
Yeah,
it's just super random as Margaret is. So there you go, enjoy.
Red meat has been found to cause cancer in white rats. Maraschino cherries have been found to cause cancer in white rats. Cellular phones have been found to cause cancer in white rats. Has anyone examined the possibility that cancer might be hereditary in white rats?
Let me tell you something. I'm not 100% sure we've ruled that out.
It's so Margaret. That's the thing I like about it. Is that like it's just so Margaret, and I love it's. I don't know. I just listening to her say that. Yeah, listening to her say those lines. It was just like the definition of Margaret's character to me.
Yeah.
So I like that. Let's talk more about the Surgeon General. So the Surgeon General, because this is an exact case of things we've talked about the past few episodes of, it's another example of when like the right thing to do morally doesn't match up with like what they have to do. Like nobody wants her to resign. And of course in the end of the episode she doesn't, and that's good. So that's interesting that the past few episodes we have had to do this thing that they didn't want to do, but in this one, they get to do the actual right thing. Yeah. But anyway, I really liked that she wasn't going to resign. I liked in the beginning when she's told, when Josh asked her to resign, and she says, he's going to have to fire me because I didn't do anything wrong.
Yeah.
And I thought that was good. Like, I thought it was really great that she stuck up for herself. And then Leo just sort of laid down the law.
True. It's nice when they don't have to bow to public perception. And today was a win for the team winning out.
It was a win. I will say, here's a controversial opinion. Oh, God. Not controversial. But there's one point where Donna and Josh are talking, and Donna says something like, are you worried that, like, do you think there's a whole segment of people who aren't smoking pot just because it's illegal? And Josh is like, no. And and Donna says, so why do we think that, like, everyone's going to show up to work stoned, blah, blah, blah. All that's happening. I think that there is probably a set of people who would smoke pot if it became legal.
Oh, we're getting political now, huh?
I don't think that's political. I just think, like, fact-wise, like, data-wise, I would smoke pot if it were illegal. I mean, if it were legal. I don't have enough of a desire to break the law to do it, but, like, if it were just around and as easily accessible as alcohol, I would probably smoke it. And I think that a lot of my friends feel the same way. So
okay,
I
work in the music industry, so I mean, like, I come from a completely different experience. I don't smoke, but this is getting too personal.
I agree with the thought that, like, it's like when people say, like, oh, you know, people are going to break the law if they want to, regardless, blah blah blah. But I think when she said that line, I was like, oh, I don't know about that.
Yeah,
maybe it's different now.
Yeah, a lot of things are different now.
We'll have to get Joey Lucas on it and poll everybody.
Yes, Joey Lucas. Oh, there's a funny little exchange between Sam and Toby about the Surgeon General. It was some sort of memo that Sam wrote, and he had some typos because apparently Sam is great at the actual writing, but sometimes not great on the spelling or typing.
Yeah.
Probably more typing than anything. But let's just play it because I thought it was cute.
Yeah. What's this note?
That note?
Yeah.
It says that we should stand by the Surgeon General.
Actually, it says we should stand by the Sturgeon General.
Does it?
Yeah.
I meant Surgeon General.
Well, I think we should stand by her, too. I just wanted to make sure we were agreed that smoked whitefish was pretty much on its own.
Yeah.
Toby.
Yeah, the Sturgeons General. They're on their own, guys. It's funny.
That was cute.
Let's talk more about Toby and Andy, shall we?
Okay. Yeah, sure. Let's do it.
Cat York, Bird York. So she's delightful. We like her. We've already established this.
Uh-huh.
And there's, definitely some, I would say, flirty things going on from Toby's end. I know that he's, trying to get her support, so it's a little bit unclear as to if he's just trying to kind of sweet talk her and charm her into doing what he needs her to do politically versus, just because they have history. You know, he says that you look fantastic and basically cuts Sam off and tries to get him to go away. And she kisses Toby on the cheek, whatever. It just, a lot of, there's a lot of different ways that couples interact after they're not officially in relationships anymore, after they've been divorced, but they're still very cozy.
Yes,
which is
I agree with that. I had the same thought when I was watching. I was like, this is not odd, but, it's interesting that they still have this type of relationship post-divorce.
Well, it just seems like they have feelings for each other, but they just can't actually, live together. They can't, do the whole relationship part, only in small doses, which makes sense. It's funny because he says that he hopes that calmer and, dare I say, prettier heads prevail. And she says, I miss patronizing sexist Toby. It's so great.
I did like that. I did like that line a lot. Yeah. That's another example of, a little bit of sexism, but that's just said just to set up a perfect delivery. And that was the best answer to that.
And then the really cool moment where he gets the idea from her of how they're going to accomplish what they need to do for this commission, because they need to get Seth Gillette on it, who we remember from the last episode was Ed Begley Jr., who was mad about the Blue Ribbon Commission being launched without him or something, and they need him on this commission, but they can't ask him, because if they ask him to be on it, he can say no, and it puts him in a position of power that they can't afford to lose. They can't afford to have him not on there. So they're trying to find a way to get him to do it without actually asking him, which is so tricky. But then basically Andy signed up Toby to be the chair of some organization, and he basically couldn't say no because she already announced it or already signed him up. And then he realizes, oh my gosh, we can just do that to Seth Gillette. And what a genius move. I just thought that was so freaking smart. I'm going to start doing that all the time.
Is it not a little ethically gray though?
What's
it's genius in the
about
sense that he could not say, because he
I guess it's lying.
Yeah, A, it's lying, and B, it's sort of an abuse of power because they're using their position as the White House and CJ's position as the press secretary to make this move. But then C, you're forcing him into a position that he doesn't want to be in.
He could turn it down. He could turn it down. It would just make it look bad if he did. It's not.
Yeah, that's what I mean by ethically gray, though.
Well, they're not actually forcing him to do it.
No, but it puts him in a position where he can't say no. So you are forcing him to do it.
He can say no. It's just that you're not in charge of him not looking bad.
He can't.
I'm on the media press secretary team on this. I'm on the Toby side.
I'm a little not on his side. I just think it's a little bit of a gray area, but it's one that's going to get a win for the White House, so that's fine.
Yeah,
it's not going to turn out like the leadership breakfast. But
I just thought
it when they said that, I was like, that's a little bit icky.
It's a little gray. I will give you that. I'm not saying it's not gray, but I'm saying that as a strategy, that was super smart. And I appreciated it. So, there you go.
Fair enough. Fair enough.
We're getting really, like, self-revelatory in this episode. Talking about drugs and family and, all sorts of things.
All right.
What else? I don't really have that much else. I thought it was weird that the Surgeon General had compliments Josh, like, oh, it's a beautiful scar. Like, he didn't even know that she had seen his scar, so it's kind of weird if somebody were to come up to you, whether you know them or not. Well, probably weirder if you didn't know them, but they're like, oh yeah, your incision is just immaculate. Like, what? Where have you been? I didn't invite you there. What?
I thought that was pretty funny because it was very, like, it fits a doctor, a Surgeon General. Like, in the same way that I would look at something graphically, you know, like, not graphically, but in the graphics business. Like, in the same way I look at advertisements or printing or anything like that and dissect it. I'm like, oh, that's some beautiful kerning right there. Like, that's how she would be about Scar. So I thought it was kind of humorous. And I just really liked that they, again, are acknowledging that Josh was shot. I like that we're going to bring that up occasionally because it's true to life. So I thought it was funny. But it is funny in, like, a creepy way that Josh is like, when did you see my scar?
Yeah. He's like, what drunken night was that from? Yeah. Also, this is not related. Pivoting away from that. Charlie mentioned to Ellie that Zoe told him about, like, oh, Ellie's studying such and such in school. And, like, what's going on there? Are he and Zoe dating yet? Still? Like, what's going on?
Well, they were already dating, so, like, they just must be dating still. And I guess this little mention is meant to imply that they are still dating. So,
okay, fair enough.
It would be nice to see more of them. The other thing that bothered me, this is the tiniest thing ever, but everybody in the beginning of the episode calls Ellie Eleanor.
Yes.
But they call her Eleanor. Like,
Eleanor.
they pronounce it Eleanor. Is
And why
Eleanor coming?
Why didn't they call it the episode Eleanor?
I don't know.
I feel like
because
Eleanor's
they call her
a better
Ellie
title.
by the end.
I know, but I feel like Eleanor's a better title to an episode.
I agree.
Ellie? What is
Eleanor,
this, like, Clueless?
not Eleanor.
Yeah. Also, this is a recycled Sorkin moment, since we said we were going to make that a thing. Perhaps. We can change the branding.
all you have to do is come home.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's recycled from Sports Night.
Well, Sports Night was after, right? Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
Was it?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure Sports Night was after The West Wing.
Okay, so it was recycled the opposite way.
Yeah, it was upcycled.
Sorry, guys. It's after it in my life. Does that help?
Yeah, because that is our reference
No,
point.
false. Lies. Sports Night came on in 1998.
Oh,
so it was
really?
recycled to The West Wing. Yes.
Oh.
I was thinking I was probably right about that.
Okay.
Yeah,
sorry, guys.
It was recycled to the
This is not a
West
Sorkin
Wing.
podcast. This is a West Wing podcast, so I don't have to know it. Don't be mad. It's fine. Okay. I don't really have anything else on this one. I think that's enough.
Neither. MVP?
Oh, yeah. I don't know. What you got?
Mine's the Surgeon General.
Oh, no. No, I just didn't. I don't know. I'm not feeling it. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I guess that's what they want you to have. I'll go for Ellie.
Okay.
This is my sympathy one for Ellie. Although I really like Andy.
Disagree on that one.
I kind of like Andy.
You can pick Andy.
Okay, I'll say Andy. I think that's more appropriate.
All right. There you go.
Okay, well, I'm really excited because the next episode is somebody's going to emergency, someone's going to jail. And we're not going to talk about that episode now. But there are so many good ones coming up. If you guys have any thoughts or feelings about upcoming episodes or this one or previous ones, feel free to write to us at TheWestWingPodcast@gmail.com. Or you can hit us up on the social media interwebs. Facebook, we have a new page. Twitter, Instagram.
On
We're going
the
to try to post
internets.
more. And,
Yeah.
yeah, we'll
there.
talk to you
Hit us
guys
up.
very soon. Hope you have a great, great day. Bye!
Bye.